If making your own Christmas decorations reminds you of gluing paper chains and cutting out paper snowflakes when you're in primary school, you'll be surprised and delighted with the range of decorations that you can actually create. For example, we have beaded candle decorations with matching napkin holders, or this fabulous centerpiece tree, along with the candles and a place name holder. For the tree, I'm going to show you how to make these lovely Christmas doves and some delightful crepe handbags and some embossed Christmas decorations. Also, I want to show you how to make a lovely gold embossed wreath that you can hang on your wall. There's a great range of crafts to choose from. We're going to do metal embossing, beading, paper crafts and clay work. And I'm going to show you how to do all of these in simple step-by-step instructions. You'll need very few specialist materials for this. You'll save lots of money and have lots of fun. So, happy Christmas! Here are two beading projects. We have a candle trim and matching napkin holders. The candle trim can be made to fit any size candle. And the great thing about this is if you're new to beading, it's very, very simple to do. And once you make them, you can have them for years to come. Now, for the colourway that I've used, I've gone for a gold and a silver, but you can use any colourway that you choose or any design of bead that you like. And they make fabulous presents. For my first project, I'm going to make a trim for the large candle, and for this you're going to need approximately 1.5 meters of silver craft wire, which is just under 1 millimetre thick. And I'm going to take the round nose pliers and just bend it back to form a loop, like so that the beads don't slip off. And then taking a pencil, I'm going to do a couple of loops around the pencil just so that I have a hook. There we go, like that. And now I'm ready to start threading the beads on. Now I've chosen some silver, gold and transparent beads. And again, the colour choice is up to you, but I find these look nice and Christmassy. So pop a few beads on like this. And then, taking your pencil, you're going to wrap, I find about 2 to 3 rotations on the pencil is fine. We get this effect here. And then want to thread some more beads on. I've also chosen different size of beads. So we've got little small ones and quite big ones. There we go. Continue wrapping the wire around the pencil and threading the beads onto the wire until you have about 2 centimetres or so left at the end of the wire. When you're finished wrapping and threading the beads, it should look like this. Now, to finish it off, I'm going to take my round nose pliers again and grasping it quite firmly towards the end of the wire, I'm just going to loop it over like so that the beads don't fall off, and also to give me a little hook which will make it easier when I'm wrapping around. Now I've chosen a pillar candle, and I'm just going to take my candle trim, wrap it around like so, and then using the hooks that I made earlier on, hook it in place. And there we have our candle trim. To make the napkin ring, you'll want to take about 40 centimetres of the silver craft wire, and I'm going to use some round nose pliers and just bend over the end of the wire so the beads don't slip off. Now, I've chosen a selection of beads that are gold, silver and transparent. And you want to start threading these on in a random order, like so. And again, you don't have to use this colourway, you can use any other colours or designs of beads. And you want to continue threading the beads onto the wire until you're about 2 centimetres or so from the top of the wire. Now to finish off, you take your round nose pliers, and as we did at the beginning, we just turn it over so that the beads are now sealed in place. Now to finish, I'm going to take a small rolling pin and wrap the napkin ring around it, like so. Just press it firmly to keep the coil in place. And it's ready to pop on to the napkin. Like so. If you want to give your tea lights a really festive feel, I've created these candle holders using red clay. They're really quick to create, and if you have children, they can help you to roll the clay and cut the hearts out. If you make 4 of them, you can put them into the centre of a table as a centrepiece, and they'll create a really pretty flower effect. Now, please remember, don't leave lighted candles unattended, and also make sure that you place the candle holders onto a heat-proof surface. To start with, I've taken 2 pieces of polymer modelling clay like this, and I want to roll these out flat to approximately the same height as the tea light. Now, I'm not going to use the metal casing of the tea light, just the tea light itself. So I'm using a small wooden rolling pin. I'm going to roll it out flat. We want to turn the clay around to make sure that we get an even surface. There we go. That should be the same height as the candle. Perfect. So I'm going to place the candle on top of the clay, and then taking the cutter, just to make sure that it fits. Yep, that's fine. I'm going to use a very sharp kitchen knife, and keeping the knife vertical, cut around the candle, like so. So that should be fine now. I'm going to use the knife and try and take the clay out of the centre. Ease it out gently because you don't want to lose the shape of the hole. There we have it. Bits of candle wax there, just brush them off. Now, if you've got a rough edge, as you can probably see I have here, all you need to do with this clay is to just use your finger and smooth it around, and it'll even up any lumps and bumps that you don't want there. And then we just pop the candle back in to make sure we have a fit. That's lovely. We're ready to cut out the heart shape. Now, this is a standard heart cookie cutter, but you can use any other type of cookie cutter as well. So placing that over the centre of the hole, we want to press down firmly. Like so. And then rather than lifting it out, I find it a lot better to peel the clay away from the outside of the cookie cutter. That way you retain your heart shape, like so. And then delicately push the clay out of the cookie cutter, like so. It's now ready to put into the oven to fire. If you look at the instructions on the packet of clay, it'll tell you how long to put it into the oven for and what temperature. So I'll move that out of the way. And this is one that I prepared earlier. And as you can see, a lovely heart shape. And the candle fits perfectly inside. And again, remember to put it onto a heat-proof surface if you're going to use them. This place name holder looks really great on your Christmas table, and you can make it in lots of different colourways to suit your Christmas colour scheme. I've made the name card using embossed metal, but you can also use card. And these name holders are also great for holding a photograph or as gifts. For the base, I've used 2 pieces of contrasting polymer clay. I'm using a bright green and a red, and I'm going to need to roll these down to approximately 1 centimetre. Now, this can take some time. There we go. And just roll the 2 pieces of clay together just to make sure they bond. I'm ready to cut them out. So I'm using a star-shaped cookie cutter, small star, and placing it over the centre. Press down firmly, like so. And then lift out the star base. Go gently at this point because you don't want to break the shape of the star. There we go. And if you've made any marks on the top, it's really, really simple just to smooth them out like this. There we go. Now, before I fire the clay, I need to make a hole in it so that the wire will fit in later. So in the centre of the clay, you just put a hole like so. And now it's ready to go into the oven to fire according to the manufacturer's instructions. Having baked my placeholder base, I'm now ready to put the spiral wire onto it. So I've cut a piece of gold craft wire about 20 centimetres long, and to start the spiral I'm going to use a pair of round nose pliers and just loop through like this. The pliers are great for starting out the spiral, but you will find that using your fingers gives a much better effect. So you want to turn it round about 4 or 5 times, and then once you've done that, you want to turn the wire at a right angle, like so, and your finished piece of wire should look like this. Now for the beads, I've chosen red, gold and green to fit with my Christmas colourway, and we're going to thread those onto the straight piece of wire. So we start off with a gold bead, like so, and then a red one. Then I want a green one, and another, and this nice square bead for finishing touch. To secure the holder into the base, I'm going to use some household glue. So I just need to pop the end of the base into the glue like so, and then place it inside. Now that'll take a couple of minutes to dry, so I'm going to leave this aside while I make my name holder. For the place card, I've used some brass embossing metal, and taking 2 sheets of kitchen towel, I'm going to place the metal on that. The size of the metal is approximately 7 centimetres by 4 centimetres. Now I've drawn a template out of the name I want to put onto the place card, but in order for it to emboss I need to turn it upside down like so. And then taking an embossing tool, you need to press quite hard here. I'm going to trace the name onto the embossing metal. There we go. The name is embossed, and now I'm ready to decorate the card. I've actually prepared one of these earlier. So the final card should look like this. And I've used some little S squiggles to border the card. Now it's ready to put into a name holder. And there you have it, perfect for your Christmas table. For this project, I've taken an ordinary tea light and transformed it into a fabulous table centrepiece using ribbons and sequins and then placing them on a mirror tile to reflect the sequins. Very simple to make and very, very effective. Taking an ordinary tea light, remove the candle, makes it a little bit easier to work with, and I've chosen for this candle holder a nice blue and some purple sequins, but feel free to choose any types of ribbons, sequins or decorations that you like around the outside. So we want to take a piece of blue ribbon that will wrap around the casing, leaving approximately 1.5 centimetres overlap, and then pop some double-sided sticky tape onto the back of it. Here's one that I did a little bit earlier. And then peeling the double-sided sticky tape off, you want to attach it to the side of the case like this. Here we go. Little overlap on the double-sided sticky tape, but we can trim that off later. We're now ready to decorate the candle holder. I've cut some sequin string, approximately the same length as the ribbon, and I'm going to use glue dots to apply it to the candle holder. So I'm just going to pop a glue dot onto the front. You want to apply maybe 6 or 7 of these along the length of your sequin. I have done one earlier. And then we're ready to pop it onto the back of the candle holder. And if you put the start of the sequin band at the join of the ribbon, keep everything tidy. And note with the sequins, I've sealed down the end with glue so that they don't unravel. And there we have it, the first sequin band. And then you need to apply the next sequin band in the same way until your end piece, final piece, will look like this. As you can see, really nice and sparkly. And once the candle has burnt down, they're quite easy just to take out and put a new candle in. These Christmas decorations are really simple to make and they look very effective against the dark green branches of your tree. Don't worry if you've never tried metal embossing before, we cover that in the basic skills section. For this project, I've used embossing metal like this. It comes in a roll, and usually you'll get an embossing tool like this with it as well. To start with, I've cut out a template and tracing paper of the shoe, and I'm going to take a small piece of the embossing metal that I've cut out already using an old pair of scissors. You don't want to blunt a new pair. And then using some masking tape to secure the shoe onto the metal, I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to draw around the edge of the template like so. Okay, having traced out the shoe shape, I'm now going to take a brad awl and pierce a hole in the metal. This will be where the cord is threaded to hang the shoe on the tree. Now, I've cut one of these out earlier, save some time, and there we have the finished shoe ready for decoration. I'm now ready to start embossing the shoe shape. Now, before I start, I'm going to take 2 pieces of kitchen towel and then on the opposite side of where I want the emboss to appear, so I'm going to turn the shoe over, I'm going to start embossing a design onto the shoe using the embossing tool. This design is completely up to you, but you can copy the one that I've done if you want to. There we go. That's my finished shoe design. I'm now ready to pop a little bit of decoration on it, and for this I'm going to use some red marabou feather, and I'm going to stick it on using some double-sided sticky tape. So we cut a tiny little piece off, about that much should be plenty, and we just stick it onto the front of the shoe like that, and then we place the marabou feather on. Just about 2 centimetres should be fine for that. And then to hang it on the tree, I've used some silver cord, about 15 centimetres should be fine. And you want to thread that through the hole that you made earlier and finish it off with a simple knot, like so. And there we have the finished design. To make the boot, I've cut out the boot template and I've stuck it using some masking tape onto a piece of embossing metal. And then taking the brad awl, we want to lightly mark the points that I need to make a hole to thread the ribbon through later. And then you need to trace around this with the embossing pen or a pencil and cut it out. And this is one that I've cut out earlier. And as you can see, I've got some marks on there that I need to make the larger holes. These are the holes that you're going to thread the ribbon through. So if you just make a large enough hole for the ribbon to go through. Don't worry if you bend the metal, it bends back into shape really easily. The smaller hole at the top, that doesn't need to be so large because that's the one that you're going to use for the silver cord. And here's a completed boot with holes all ready to be embossed. To start with, I'm going to need 2 sheets of kitchen towel and then turning the boot over onto the wrong side, so you have the raised edges at the top. I'm going to start to decorate it using the embossing tool. I'm using a series of curly designs and S's, but feel free to use any design you like. And there we have the finished embossed boot. And it's all ready for me to thread the lace through. And for the lace, I've taken a thin piece of satin ribbon. I've tied a little knot in the bottom of it, and I'm going to thread that through from the wrong side so that the knot keeps the ribbon secure. And then loop it over like so. And don't worry again if the embossing metal bends a little, it's quite straightforward to bend back into shape. And the final hole. There we go. And then to finish this, you just need to trim off the rest of the excess ribbon, like so. And then taking a glue dot, secure the ribbon to the back of the boot, like so. And for a finishing touch, I'm going to use one of these pre-prepared little bows and another glue dot. And just place it on the top of the boot, like so. And to hang the boot onto the tree, we're going to use some silver cord. I'll just thread that through a hole at the top, and then secure it with a knot. Like so. And there we have the embossed boot decoration. Bring some peace and goodwill to your tree with these lovely Christmas doves. You can make them in different colourways, like in gold or white, or silver, and you can perch them on the branches of your tree. If you want to vary the design of the wings and tail, you can just use a different hole punch. I've traced these templates from our template, and I have a bird body, a tail and a wing. Now, to help you, it might be easier just to write tail or wing on your templates, that way you won't get mixed up because they do look quite similar, as you can see. And we're going to start with the bird. We want to take a piece of card, just about the right size to fit the template, and then pop your template on and draw around it lightly with pencil. I've used a dark black pen here just to sort of show you the shape, and also put a little mark where the eye should be, so we're going to make a hole in there later. So when we've done that, we want to cut the bird out, and we should end up with a little shape like this. And then we just need to make an eye in the bird. So taking a bradawl, you just pop it into the hole that we've marked and punch a hole, like so. And that's the bird body. And now we're ready to make the wings and the tail. So taking the templates that I've drawn out earlier, I'm going to take 2 pieces of cartridge paper, approximately 7 centimetres squared, and just fold them over into a triangle like so. And then taking the triangle and the tail template. Now, I've marked on the tail template where the line is that you need to have it on the fold, like so. And then we're going to draw around it lightly in pencil. I've already done this in pen for the camera so you can see what it should look like. And also I've marked from the template, you can see here the little holes. That's where we're going to place the hole punch. So if you just press down with your pencil, you'll make a mark on the paper and you'll know where to place the hole punch. And again, the same with the wings, and the same with the pressing down to make the marks. We should end up with 2 pieces of paper like this. And then you just need to cut them out. If you find it difficult getting around these edges here, you can use a craft knife or alternatively a nice sharp pair of scissors. Having cut out my tail and my wings, I'm now ready to start hole punching them. The good idea with the wings is to keep them together because I've only marked the points to punch on one side. And with the tail, keep it together and punch, and then you're going to need to open it out to punch in the centre. The hole punches take quite a bit of pressure, so it's a good idea to have it on a flat surface when you're using it. So I'll just do one punch. And that's the kind of effect you're going to get. Now, I have done some of these earlier. So there we have finished wings and a tailpiece. And we're ready to put them onto the bird body. So taking a spare piece of paper to glue on, I've got my bird there. I'm going to take a wing and just put some glue onto the back of the wing like so. Oops. There we go. And then the same on the other side. So the glue will go here. There's the wings ready. And then for the tail, we just want to put a bit of glue onto the inside like so. And then taking the bird and the fold of the tail, put it in place like so. And there we have a lovely Christmas dove. For a fabulous feminine touch to your Christmas tree, I've made these lovely little paper bags. Now you can use them to hang some chocolate on the tree or small gifts, or alternatively you can also use them just on their own. To make the handbags, I've used some double-sided crepe paper. You can also use normal crepe paper for this. We start with cutting out a rectangle of crepe paper, approximately 16 centimetres by 7 centimetres. One thing to bear in mind, and I'm not sure if the camera can pick this up, is crepe paper, you can see the grain, it's the ridges that go along, and we want the grain on our bags to be running the long side of the rectangle. So having taken the rectangle, I'm now going to mark the centre of it and draw a line through the middle so I know where to fold. Now with crepe paper, you just need to fold quite lightly because it will pull when you draw. Now this will show me where to fold, but before I do that, I'm going to make the little ruche effect of the bag by just stretching the crepe paper like so. We get a nice ruched effect on the bag. There we go. And now before I fold it, I'm going to attach the handle. And for this, I've cut a piece of silver cord, approximately 20 centimetres long, and I've also sealed the ends with some glue so they don't fray. And I'm going to use a glue dot to secure them in place. Like so. There we go. And now I'm ready to put some glue down the side and fold the bag up. So taking a scrap of paper to put the glue on, I'm just going to run a piece of glue along the side like that. And oops. And there we have the start of the bag. And now we're ready to decorate the handbag. And for this, I've used a little square of blue crepe paper, and taking the grain running horizontally, I'm going to just ruche the sides of it like so. Nice little gathered effect, sort of a frilling. There we go. Again, take care not to pull too hard doing this in case you rip the crepe paper. And then taking my glue sheet, pop a little bit of glue on the back. There we go. And fix the frilled square in place, like so. And for the finishing touch, I found a lovely little hologram star, and I'm going to use a glue dot just to secure it in place. And there we go. Perfect for any little gifts on your tree. You can put a pair of these Christmas trees on either end of your mantelpiece to offset your Christmas cards, or you can make a row of them to go into the centre of your Christmas table. They're a great thing to make with children because they really enjoy the fringing, and also you can make them in lots of different colourways for party decorations. To start with, I've taken some heavyweight paper and I'm going to draw a semicircle of approximately 20 centimetre radius, that's 40 centimetres in diameter. So taking a pair of compass, I'm going to measure out 20 centimetres on the ruler. There we go. And then from the centre of the piece of paper, I'm going to draw a semicircle. So that's the first one. Now, we need to draw some more, which I've drawn here already. So we'll have one semicircle of 20 centimetres radius, and then the second at 10 centimetres radius, third at 7 centimetres radius, and the fourth at 3 centimetres radius. And having done that, I'm now ready to cut out the semicircle and make the cone. And I've done this earlier. And I'm going to fold the piece of paper into the cone. Now, a little trick with this, because both hands will be holding the cone, is to take your sellotape off beforehand and just pop it onto your hand. Fold the cone like so, and then taking the sellotape, pop it along the side to secure it. This is going to be hidden by the silver crepe paper, so you won't see it, and that's the cone. Now ready to turn the cone into a tree. So taking some crepe paper, and without unravelling it, you want to cut 2 bands, approximately 7 centimetres in depth, and then you want to cut the fringing. You need to leave about 1 centimetre from the top of the fringing, and each fringe should be about 1/2 centimetre wide, like so. Now, as this will take some time, I have made some of these earlier. We should end up with 2 bands with fringing that looks like this. Once you've cut your 2 fringes, you're ready to stick the double-sided sticky tape onto the fringe. Now, I've done one in advance. I've used narrow double-sided tape. If you can't find this, you can use the larger double-sided tape and just trim it down. So we want to peel the backing off the tape. I do this gradually as you work your way around the tree, otherwise it'll all stick together. And then, using the base of the tree as a guide, we want to just stick the fringing on like so. And don't worry if you get some bubbling and unevenness. It will be hidden by later fringes that come over it. So we want to wrap the fringe around the cone twice so that we cover any bits of the grey card underneath. And there we are. That's the first base of the cone. Trim that. Having completed the fringe around the bottom, we're ready to start finishing off the rest of the tree with the fringe. So, using the pencil marks that we made earlier on the cone as guides, we want to take the top of the fringe and run them around each guide. Now the fringe needs to go around the cone twice, and we're going to work our way up until we come to the top guide. Once you've finished, your tree should look like this, and we're now ready to put the final layer of fringing along the top of the tree. So taking the double-sided sticky tape and peeling back, and we're just going to wrap this around as often as it takes to cover the paper. And something that you might find a bit easier when you're wrapping the fringing around the tree is to move the tree, not the fringing. It saves everything getting tangled up. So keep wrapping around until we get a nice clean and even finish on the top. I'm actually going to go a little bit higher as well, just so that I can bend and press in so we get a finish like this at the top. There we go, that should be enough. And then, so there we go. And just smooth some of the leaves that have got twisted down. And we're ready to put the star on top of the tree. For the star, I've taken 2 7 centimetre square pieces of holographic paper, and I'm going to glue them together, as I've done here earlier. And then, taking the star template, you want to draw around using a biro, and then cut out your star shape. So the finished star should look like this, hologram both sides. And then using a glue dot to secure the point of the star into the top of the tree, like so. And there we have our finished tree. This project is a little more time consuming, but as you can see, the results are well worth it. It's traditional to hang a wreath on your door at Christmas time, but this one has been designed for use inside the home, and I think it would look lovely outside your dining room door as a welcome to guests coming in for Christmas dinner. On a sheet of white card, I've drawn 2 circles using a pair of compasses, one 25 centimetres in diameter and the other 19 centimetres in diameter. And I'm going to draw a line through the centre of the circle so that when I'm laying the leaves on, I can make sure they're symmetrical. And then having done this, I need to cut the circle out. I've cut one of these out earlier. And there we have the base for the wreath, all ready to put the leaves onto. To make the leaves, I'm going to take a sheet of brass embossing metal. And if you're not sure about working with this embossing metal, check the basic skills section. And taking a template which I've traced of a leaf, I'm going to draw with a pencil this leaf shape onto the metal 22 times, like so. And once I've done this, I'm then going to cut out the 22 leaf shapes ready for the next stage, which will be the embossing. Having cut out my 22 leaves, I'm now ready to start embossing them. And to do that, I need to take 2 sheets of kitchen towel, and then taking one of the leaves and a template that I made earlier, and placing the template over the leaf and using the embossing tool, I'm going to follow the lines on the template to give the vein effect of the leaf. If you're not sure about your embossing, use the template, and then when you feel a little bit more confident, you can start to do the leaves freehand. There we go. And as you can see, we have an embossed leaf. We need to continue now and do the rest of the 22 like that. Having embossed the 22 leaves, I'm now ready to start laying them on to the paper template that we cut out earlier, and using a glue dot, 2 per leaf should be fine, like so. I'm going to place them at the bottom of the template. I don't know if you can see the line marks there, they're the lines we drew earlier. We want to work up from the centre of the bottom of the wreath, like so, and positioning the leaves so that they're pointing down and overlapping. Work your way around the wreath like this. It's a good idea to space the leaves out first without gluing them down, just to make sure that you've got the right amount of leaves and that your spacing is all even. And once you've done this, you should have about 4 leaves left over, which I'm going to put aside, and you can use them to fill up any blank spaces. Now, rather than gluing all of these down, I prepared one earlier, and we have that here. And as you can see, I have a couple of white spaces left. I just position the 4 spare leaves over that edge, and it's ready for the finishing touches. Having glued down the leaves, I'm now ready for the next step, which is fixing on the poster hanger. And they have a gummed backing. You fix them in place like this, and it should be secure enough to hold the wreath when it's hanging on the door. And for the final touch, I've used some of this green ribbon, and I've created a bow, which I'm going to use a sticky dot to secure in place at the top of the wreath, like so. And there we have our elegant Christmas wreath. Metal embossing is a really, really simple skill to learn, and you can get some really great effects with it. You can buy the sheet embossing metal at most craft and art stores, and you'll also usually get an embossing tool like this with them. You can also use an old ballpoint pen, and you'll need an old pair of scissors. A new pair of scissors will blunt very quickly on this metal. I like to use 2 sheets of kitchen towel as a cushion for the embossing, and I'm going to take a small piece of embossing metal, and we're going to do a freehand design just to show you how simple this is. You need to press down quite firmly, and you have to remember that any of the designs that you do will come out in reverse. So 2 little circles there. That's a very simple idea of what you can do with this embossing metal. If you're going to use names or writing, it's a good idea to write out the name you're using beforehand onto some tracing paper and then use it as a template. And because it comes out in reverse, you need to turn it over like so, and again trace over it using the embossing tool or your ballpoint pen and press quite firmly. There we go. So you see, nice and clear. You can use this technique for lots of different things. Here's a boot that I've created using the freehand embossing design. You can also get this embossing metal in lots of different colours, such as brass, silver, gold, copper, and lots of other metallic colours. Here are 3 simple techniques to show you how to glue your projects down effectively. The first one is double-sided sticky tape. This is the standard width, but if you want to use a narrow width like this, it can be quite hard to find in shops. So I'm going to show you how to cut down double-sided sticky tape. All you need to do is lay out a length like so. Don't press it down onto the cutting board because you'll find you won't be able to get it off afterwards. So we just trim that like so. And then taking a metal ruler and a craft knife, I'm going to cut a thin strip of the tape, like so, and then using the knife to help to get it from the board, we have a thin strip of double-sided sticky tape. Glue dots are a great invention. They're basically little bits of glue on some paper that you can just peel back like so. They come in different sizes. You can get them sort of small, medium and large. And they really make a big difference when you're working on a project and you want to put a finishing touch, but you don't want to destroy the project by having bits of glue all over it. For an example, I'm going to show you how to adhere this bow to this piece of card. Now, normally I'd use the household glue, but with a glue dot, all I have to do is to pop the bow on like so, peel it back, and then press it firmly onto the card. And as you can see, it's a really secure hold and there's no mess, no fuss. When working with cord, ribbon or anything else that might fray, it's a good idea to use some household glue just to seal the ends. Now, as you can see, this piece of cord here is fraying quite badly, so I'm going to take some household glue and just dab a bit below the frayed edge, like so, and then leave that for a couple of minutes to dry. And I have actually done this earlier on this end, and as you can see, this end is quite frayed, but I've glued there. So I'm ready just to snip off the frayed end like so. And there we have a nice sealed end, which makes it really easy to thread through things as well. Another good use for this technique is with lengths of sequin like this. The sequins have a nasty habit of just slipping off very, very easily. I don't know if you can catch that there. So the way to avoid this is again to take some more of the household glue and just pop a bit onto the thread of the sequin string, like so, and then bend it back and stick it in place. And that way your sequins won't fray.